That evening, God told me, I showed you your wife today, you didn't do anything.
If that man comes to propose to you, what will you do? I just waved it off from my mind. Welcome to today's episode of Love, Life, and Legacy.
This episode, we're going to be talking about singlehood. First, we're going to start by hearing their story. What was your life like before you knew Christ?
I was born into a Christian home in Methodist Church.
Sundays were very special days for me back in my childhood for many reasons because I was born in a Christian home. But I remember now in retrospect, it was just my nominal Christianity because it wasn't what you now know as genuinely being born again. You know, my parents loved God and they introduced us to at least going to church very early.
Right from childhood, I participated in serving the Lord. I was involved in recitation competitions. I won cups. I joined the choir at a very tender age when I was in primary 5. And in fact, that time I was the smallest member in our choir, very small. From there, I was teaching in the Sunday school.
Every Sunday morning, my mom would line us, all of us, up from the eldest to the youngest. We took some drugs that they were not comfortable. Quinine, Miss Abba, Antipa, cod liver oil. Then now comes the good part. You now take your plate of rice and eat and wear your good Christmas dress, including our helmet, British helmet, and the Clark sandals. So it was just like that. And I know that back in primary school, because of some little intelligence God gave me, I scaled through many classes. And then I was involved in so many things, drama, football, and all that.
When I entered the secondary school, I was invited to a program, and despite the fact that when I was small, I attend crusades, and small children, they make altar call, will rush out and give our life to Christ. But I know that I committed my life to Christ willingly and willfully and consciously in 1983 after watching a program, a drama presented by the Scripture Union. And the drama was about hell. I cried and cried for days after I gave my life to Christ. And eventually I continued. Along the line, I rededicated my life again to Christ in 1986. From there, I now gained admission to study nursing.
As I was growing up, I now realized that there were things that I didn't know in church there. So I gave my life to Christ first time around 1972, back in secondary school. But after some time, I found myself, I had gone flat again, in terms of being serious with my Christian life. I wasn't living any particular sinful life, but it was just nominal. But thank God, along the line, full gospel came into the time I was working in. I had graduated and was my former profession, medical profession. So when the full gospel came, I now rededicated my life afresh, now becoming aware, consciously becoming aware of what it really meant to be a Christian. So 1988, I found myself back into genuine walk with the Lord.
After you gave your life to Christ,
when I now gained admission into the School of Nursing, I entered NIFES Fellowship, served as Bible Study Secretary, served as Vice President. It was when I was the President of the Fellowship that I was invited for a program at NIFES Polytechnic, Onwana. And when we came for that, it was, I think, Love Feast Exchange of Gifts program. So one of the sisters, the Vice President of NIFES Poly, was my friend. We're still friends till now.
And then I was so passionate about doing things for God. In fact, in my head, I already started forming in my head how I was going to build up my own professional clinic, resign from government work, use the money and be doing God's work. That was on my own. I was so involved in God's work that I was made a patron with the Nifes Fellowship where I was working, edition where I was working. And then the chapel that was non-denominational, also Christ Chapel, back in that tertiary institution, I was also a patron. And then that led me to so many things. And then eventually, one day, the leadership of the Nifes told me they had a feast, that involved some other groups in the town. So while I had a patient in the ward, I had to attend to that patient until late evening. I drove to the fellowship site to apologize and explain to them why I couldn't make it. Then one of the fellowship officials just said, Doc, come and meet my friend. And she now introduced me to her friend, who was then the president of Nifes in Mata Hospital, another hospital there in town.
After the program, as I was going, she just dragged me and said, oh, come and meet one of her, and then meet our patron, Dr. Kele Chimba. So we just shared the pleasantries and I left.
Eventually that evening, God told me, I showed you your wife today, you didn't do anything.
So when I went back that evening, I was lying down on my bed, and this, do I say a thought or a ministration, just came to my mind. If that man comes to propose to you, what will you do? I just waved it off from my mind, and so that was how it.
Wow. Thank you very much, Sadamo, for sharing. I'm so touched. I mean, everybody should be saying in the comment section, because this is a very beautiful love story.